places, which means that I will not be able to give one space all of my delicious attention. For those of you who join or those of you who are watching it back later, hey, I want to start off with saying hi, welcome, how you doing? I hope everything is great on your end. Well, given the givens, I hope that things are great enough. So today we are talking about self-esteem as a group project that we're failing and that we could actually do better. But first, I got to introduce myself. Hey, I'm Dr. Donna Oriola. I am a sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And I like to say I help Black women feel free, fabulous, and effed. I try to keep my language clean, but we gonna see how it work out. We gonna see how it work out. So with all of that, I like to talk about like how supremacy culture, not just white supremacy, but supremacy culture as a whole is the biggest hater that any of us ever knew. The one that really does get your self-esteem all the way fucked up. And this is as interactive as you are willing to make it. So if you put comments in, if you talk, I talk back. That's how I like to do it. That's just me. So as I said, I'm a sex and relationship therapist. I like to focus on the impact of colorism and texturism on mental and sexual health. So that pleasure piece. And I'm also the author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, which came out on Tuesday. This is a Black woman's guide to unlearning the BS and healing that self-esteem. So where it comes right down to it, we're going to actually be talking about how many of us are actually failing. Yeah, if self-esteem was a class, we're failing. We're not doing our best. We could be doing better. Meanwhile, I see some of y'all are here. Talk to me because I talk back. Say hi. Hi. Don't be rude. Say hi. All right. So part of the reason why we're having this conversation is because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. One. It is also National Masturbation Month. That's two. And I know that it doesn't seem like it would go together, but baby, they do go together. And we can't forget that. Mental health, sexuality, and self-esteem all definitely go together and all end up getting talked about right here in this here book. So why me? Why am I talking about this? Aside from the fact that I authored a book, I am also an expert in self-esteem, how to build it, how to maintain it, what the things that can get in the way of it. These are part of the things that I talk about. And also because as a sex therapist, as a therapist, this comes up in how we navigate relationships with lovers, friends, family, and ourselves. And I want to make sure that we're speaking to that. Okay, I see you just getting your book in the mail. What's up? What's up? What's up? And see, thank you, PRB. What's that? Natika? I don't even think I'm saying nothing right. Nikita. Hey. And yes, they all go together like peanut butter and jelly. And and a lot of other probably slightly disgusting sort of pairings that still taste quite delicious, at least to me. But the point is this, that self-esteem literally impacts every single facet of your life. And I'm willing to bet that you can see some examples of some really fucked up self-esteem outside. Right? Like when I think, for example, just to sprinkle a little one and one that is very recent. I don't know how many of you have been following what is going on with the Diddy trial. Natiken. Thank you. How many of you have been following the Diddy trial? Have you? You've been looking, you've been seeing. That's been something that you know a little bit about? Because if so, I would say that there's a sprinkling to me of a self-esteem problem that is mired in having just a little bit too much money that can mask itself as proper power. And what I mean is that when I say supremacy culture, people automatically think I said white supremacy. And I mean supremacy culture as a whole, because a lot of us have been taught how to bow to power wherever it is present. We have been taught how to show up for power. We've been shown how to kowtow to power. And because power doesn't have any real power, the power is really just imagined. Part of the reason that it wins is because it has taught us all to buy into the same lie. Yeah. And that's part of what I want to talk about. Now, before we get into it, I want to say again, for those of you who are just joining us, hey, and that we are talking about self-esteem as a group project. And we're talking a little bit about this here book, and you can ask me any question that you got about book writing process, about the book itself, whatever the question is, I have answers tonight. So ask me anything. Now, what I'm asking you to do is tag somebody that you know need to be a part of a self-esteem conversation, especially if they are your number one, your ace, your best friends, or that family member that's a little bit weird, but that is still your bestie, because they might need to be here right now, or they could go ahead and catch this on a replay. But go ahead and tag a friend or three anyway. Now, story time, just real quick. This book has been in the making. It was conceived October 2020. So we are talking about something that is like 5 years in the making. Because in October of 2020, that was when I was approached to write a book. I was specifically asked to write this book, to write a book about self-esteem, except they wanted it to be for mental health practitioners. And while I think it is awesome to write a book for mental health practitioners, I'm like, well, for the most part, they already know some of this information. So what's the point? Right? Like, you have the conversation with people who technically have the information, whether or not they use it in their life is different stuff. Right? But it's kind of like, well, why would I have the conversation with just them when we could be having the conversation with so many more other people? And I want to make sure that this conversation is one that we're having all over the place. So it was conceived in 2020, and I've been talking about it to the people around me for as long as I can remember, not trying to keep it a secret because I'm really good at doing that. And ever since I started writing this book, especially now that the writing part is done and the part where you talk about it has started, all I can see are instances where self-esteem has been a problem, right? Because here's the thing that people don't say. So there are three major things that we are going to consider tonight. Number one, the first one that we're going to consider is that self-esteem is not self-taught. Let's start there. So just in case you did not hear me, self-esteem is not self-taught. So my first question to you is, who taught you about self-esteem? Who lived self-esteem? Who did you see doing the thing? And part of the reason that I'm asking this question, and part of the reason that we're having even this part of the conversation at all, is because a lot of us are living under the impression that somehow you were supposed to already know. That you were already supposed to know how to like yourself, how to love yourself, how to treat yourself well, how to do that self-care. We have been put under the impression that you're already supposed to know all of this stuff. And my question is, how? Real question. How are you supposed to know if nobody taught you? Did anybody in your life, real question, ever explicitly say out of their mouth, I want to talk to you about your self-esteem? Did they say, I want to make sure that you know about this and that you can guard it? Did anybody say it? Yes, no, maybe? Like, if they said it, go ahead and put a thumbs up. And if they didn't, you could put a thumbs down that no, nobody had this conversation. Part of the reason that I'm saying this is because oftentimes, thank you for your honesty and saying, nah. Part of the reason why I want to have this part of the conversation, thank you over here, Lucas, for also saying no one actually had the conversation with you. Part of the problem here is that a lot of the things that your people wanted you to know, they taught you explicitly, right? A lot of us, we got lessons on how to wash some dishes, how to do some laundry. Like, you watched, they showed you what to do, they told you what needed to happen, and then you got to practice it. How do you imagine that you would practice self-esteem? How can someone talk to you about how you show up in the world and the you that you are? Now, I don't want to blame parents because I feel like parents be getting enough blame, and I know that being a parent must be hard because I could never. But I also would be remiss if I didn't say there are too many times where a lot of us were raised in the idea that we were our parents' property, that were meant to be seen and not heard. We were meant to make our parents look good by way of our behavior. We were taught how to act when we were outside. And really, it was don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, because you ain't getting nothing, right? It was the sit down and shut up, right? It was the do as I say when I say it the first time. It was that type of stuff. Did anybody get any of those messages? Did anybody? Oh, come on now. Seen and not heard. Seen and not heard. I see you. You know about that seen and not heard. I see some facts over here. Okay. The point is that somebody else got to dictate what we were supposed to be. And here's something that they don't often say that I'm going to tell you now that is also in the book. I feel like I'm putting you on all book game right now. And part of it is this. If you don't have self-concept, then you can't have self-esteem. Sit in it. Now, what is self-concept? That for me would be my natural next question. What is self-concept? Self-concept is what you know about you. What do you know about you? What do you see about you? What have you learned about yourself? Now, I want to say this. Sometimes people will see some things about you that you don't see because they are on the outside looking in, but nobody knows you better than you. Not even your mammy, not your pappy, not your uncle, not nobody. The book link is drinkwaterbook.com. Drinkwaterbook.com. Thank you for asking. So if somebody is saying that they know you better than you know you, let me tell you right now, they lied. They lied. They lied because consider what we say, right? We say knowledge is power. And if knowledge is power, somebody claiming to have more knowledge on you than you have about you is usually it is a way for them to flex power. They're trying to show you, they're trying to put you in your place. They're trying to remind you that they know you better than you know yourself. So you should listen or defer to them. A lot of people want power over you. And that's where this is where we enter back into where we started. Supremacy culture is a big fat lie that fucks us up in our ability to have our self-esteem. Because supremacy culture tells you what your place is based off your gender, based off your race, based off your wealth, based off your ability, based off your sexuality. It tells you your place based on all that. And what that means is that it presumes to have power over you because it's trying to tell you, you don't know you well enough. Let me tell you your place. Your place is beneath my feet. And if somebody didn't tell you, anybody who's working extra fucking hard, excuse my language, I said I was going to try not to, but here we are, right? If anybody is working that daggone hard to tell you your place, if somebody is working that hard to have you be on your, on your knees, right? Your mental knees, your emotional knees, these things here, knees. It is because they are trying to feel taller than you. And the only way that they know how to feel good about themselves is if you feel like shit. And I would add this, okay? So come with me. When somebody is feeding you things that make you feel like shit, there's another ulterior motive here. And usually it's to get at your wallet. Somebody will make you feel like shit and you will spend money to undo it. They will tell you that you would be pretty if you bought this thing or that thing. You could be smarter if you did this thing or that thing. But generally speaking, when someone makes you feel like shit, they also are reaching for your wallet. And I don't want you to feel like shit. I want you to feel great about yourself because despite the fact that I don't know you like that, I already know that you're awesome. Here's how I know. You are. See, some of y'all are waiting for the rest of that sentence. There is no rest of that sentence. It's you are, because you exist. You exist, and so you are the shit, not some shit, regardless of what anybody has to say to you. You are the shit, not some shit. Hear me again. You are, my dear, the shit, not some shit. I want you to sit in that and just be okay that I'm saying that you are the shit right now. Now, you may have some shitty behaviors. Let's call a spade. But it does not mean that you are worth less because you have less or because you do fucked up things. You're worth the same, but you can change your behaviors. You are the one who has the power to do something about that. You don't have to keep on doing behaviors that you don't like. You don't have to keep doing behaviors that don't make no sense. You can do things that make perfect sense, at the very least, perfect sense to you, because what we do as individuals does not always make sense to everybody that we come across. So, right now, we've already gone through that self-esteem is not self-taught, and that self-esteem and self-concept are necessary in order for us to have that. Self-concept is necessary for our self-esteem. That's what I meant. Sorry, my bad. Speaking too fast. Now, here's the thing. I already told you that self-esteem is not self-taught. Think back real quick. When you think about the people who raised you, how did they show you that they loved themselves? Hear me again. How did your mom, your dad, your grandma, that auntie, that family friend, how did they show you that they loved, liked, respected, and cared for themselves? Because quiet as it's kept, a lot of us grew up with mamas and aunties who gave a lot to everybody around them and almost never reserved anything for themselves, right? They got their pats on the back and, they felt great about themselves based off what they could give to others and almost never accepted help. And some of y'all do the same shit. Some of us do the same thing where we have a hard time asking for help. We tell ourselves no in advance. If it's you, say it's you. Go ahead, raise your hand. Is it you? Do you say no to yourself? I want to give you another example now, one that happened recently. Did you see the pop the balloon video of homegirl who popped her own balloon? Did y'all see that? Maya, did you see it? Naisha, did you see it? Over here, did y'all see it? Y'all saw it? Anyone saw it? Yep. Okay. So in case you don't know about it, there was this very fine, goddamn, dark-skinned somebody. She was sexy, right? Like, I was like, sexy to me. She looked good. And she popped her own balloon because she thought that the dude was just like, you know what? He's not gonna want me. She said, I don't think I'm his type. So she said, and you know what happened? A bunch of people took to the internet streets to talk about something. Why she gonna pop her own balloon? That don't make no sense. Girl, you supposed to shoot your shot. That's a bunch of people talking shit. Here's the thing. You do the same motherfucking thing. Is there a job that you wanted that you didn't apply for because you told yourself you weren't going to get it? If that's you, say yes. If it's you, if you know it's you, say yeah, you did. Have you ever not said hey to somebody, right? You saw somebody cute, you was like, ooh, I like what I see. And you decide not to say anything to them because you were just like, oh, they wouldn't talk to me anyway. If that's you, put a 1 in the chat. If you have been in a position where you just was just like, I need help to do something, and then you just kept your mouth shut. You just like, well, my friend, she busy. She got so much going on in her life. He's always doing something. He's just busy. I don't want to ask for nothing. Has that been you? Go and tell me. I know. It's a gentle calling out. It's not even real call out. It's a call in. I'm asking you to come home, right? I'm asking you to come in and close my door. All right? Don't let my good air out. I'm asking you to come in. Part of the reason why I'm asking you this is because some of us are the same people that was talking shit about how she popped her own balloon, but you do the same damn thing. You are a balloon. You are a preemptive balloon popper. You pop your own balloon. And here's the thing. That's called damaged self-esteem. Allow me to read to you. Can I read to you for a second? Yours, mine, out. Okay, I won't sing. I promise. I'll stop. So damaged self-esteem occurs when on the inside, you low-key like yourself, high self-esteem, but something happened or keeps happening that makes you doubt if you should or feel like you must be judging it wrong. So if someone asks you, you might say it was low. Baby, if it sounded like you, raise your hand, put it in the comments. I just want to say it real quick. If it sounded like you, where on the inside you low key like you think you kind of low key, high key are kind of the shit. Like you kind of know this, but when you come across others, you kind of like, I'm not sure. I might be judging it wrong. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna give my opinion in this work meeting. I'm not gonna tell people what I'm thinking. Despite the fact that I have recorded that video 3 times, I won't leave it in the archives of my phone, and I'm not actually gonna post it anywhere on social media. And then you see that someone else said the same thing, you're like, damn, I wish I would have done it. Damn, I wish I would have said it. That's you popping your own balloon. Because that's what damaged self-esteem looks like. It looks like popping your own damn balloon. Let's see. I see. Yes, more so. I feel they won't do what I'm asking like me. No one can ever do anything that you're asking like you because the only person that's like you is you. I think that sometimes we get it twisted when we want to ask somebody for help. We think that they are supposed to be us in the request. They are going to do the request like them, which means they may not think of all the things that you think of. So if you are not specific, they cannot produce it. And sometimes you also got to let people get it wrong. They can't learn if you keep coming in like Superman, saving a motherfucking day. Like, I got beef with Superman. I know that other people don't, but I do. All those superheroes, this one got beef. So let's grill it up and we're going to talk about it. Why I got beef? I got beef with them because if you grow up in the mindset that every time you step outside your house, if something bad is about to happen, that Superman will swoop in from on high and get you out of the street or go get your cat or what have you. If you believe that Superman is coming, you know what you are being taught? To be powerless. You're being taught not to be able to help yourself. As a matter of fact, that's also taking a hit to your self-esteem because it's like, well, you get to your big age and you feel like, I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to make shit shake on my own. It's not true. You just haven't had practice at making shit shake on your own. That's why I got beef with superheroes because superheroes really just disempower the people that they're so-called saving. They don't help them to help themselves. They take over so that the other people never have to think of nothing. That's not to your benefit. That's to your detriment. It helps to damage your self-esteem, right? If a dark-skinned woman like the one who popped her own balloon has all her life been told, you're not cute. You're cute for a dark-skinned girl. You're not my preference. You're not exactly what I'm looking for. You know, like you need to act your you acting light skin. You need to check that. If that is part of what is being got, is that not the damage then that is happening to your self-esteem? Yes? No, maybe? Because if this is the constant message, you know what you learn to do? You learn to be quiet. You learn not to go after the things that you want. You learn that maybe the way that you see the thing is incorrect and that you are unqualified for that job, that you're not cute enough for that possible partner, that you should just be happy with what you've got, right? If you got that reference, put it in the chat with the way I said it. Be happy with what you've got. Like I be low key quoting movies, but nobody ever seems to get it. It just be me. But trust me, you'll be much happier. Right. So like the damaged self-esteem, it's constant, you're taking a hit constantly. And this is where we come into that piece where people talk about like imposter syndrome. I would say most people don't have imposter syndrome. Exactly. Yes, it's Cinderella for Lala. It is Cinderella. Brandy is my Cinderella forever. Um, but when your self-esteem is constantly taking hits, right? You learn to detect the things around you to see whether or not you're allowed to show up there. So when we talk about imposter syndrome, I would say most people don't have it. What you have is good BS detector. Because you detected that these motherfuckers in here ain't on nothing but some BS. Because they don't want you there, and you picked up on the fact that they don't want you there, and they say that that means that you don't think you should be there. No, they said you shouldn't be there. You picked up on it. However, there is a select few of us who actually have true imposter syndrome. We believe that we do not belong. So we don't apply for the job, the internship, the scholarship. We don't think we could ever get it. So we already throw our hands up and say, what's the point? And then we say shit like it is what it is. And when you say it, what I hear you saying is it is what it will always be. It will never change. Nothing will ever change. There is no point. You defeated yourself at the beginning. You popped your own balloon. With love. I hope it's not coming off too disrespectful. With that comes this. If self-esteem is not created in isolation, then it will not be maintained or grown in isolation. It's not created in isolation. I just said that you got some of how you learn to take care of yourself. You got it from mommy, auntie, uncle, sisters. You got it from the people around you. So if they don't like themselves, they may be ill-equipped to teach you how to properly love yourself. Because do as I say, not as I do only works for so long. Right? If your parents are telling you, or if your caregivers were telling you, hey, you got to love yourself, you got to respect yourself, and then you watch them constantly do things that doesn't show love or care for themselves, you learn that. And as much as and many of us have said at some point in our lives that we don't want to turn into our parents, that we don't want to be them, but we don't know what we actually want to be. And let me tell you right now, in case someone told you today, a way is not a destination. Saying I want to go away from being like my parents doesn't tell me what you want to be. It just says you don't want to be like them, but you haven't defined what you want. And what did I just say? I said self-concept is required for self-esteem. How can you know how you feel about yourself if you don't know who you are? What you know, generally, I would say most of us, we know how we feel about the service we give to others. We know how we feel about how other people see us. We know how we feel about what other people want from us, but we don't know how we feel about who we are because we don't know, because we have been like for real, grade Oscar winning actors and actresses. Like get an A plus. You are that girl. You are that dude. You've been doing it, honey. Playing in everybody's faces, playing in your own face. But why do we do it? It's easier. It's easier. If you continue to be what other people expect you to be, then you never have to be properly vulnerable enough to show up as yourself. Which means that if the you you're pretending to be fails at something, you didn't fail. The version of them that they created for you to be failed. And some of us, we are not ready to take on that level of accountability and responsibility for our own lives, quiet as it's kept. I say it with love. I say it with love. I like that pop the balloon thing is hitting for you. Let it hit. Let it hit. Here's the other piece. I don't know how many of you have seen Raquel Hopkins. She's a therapist online. One of the things that she says is that a lot of us, we try to keep ourselves in isolation as a way to protect our mental health. But mental health is not intended to be protected, it is intended to be utilized. As in, the whole point is that you want to fortify your mind to be in relation with other people. And if all you ever are is by yourself, your shit is untested. It's like me mixing some shit together in the house and saying this stuff prevents COVID. But I never leave my house and no one ever comes over. If no one is ever here, if it's always just me, does it actually prevent COVID, or is it the fact that I never step out of my house? Some of y'all have self-esteem that is hella fucking fragile because it is never tested outside with other people. So you can say that you love yourself, that you feeling yourself at your house, but the second you get outside, it's gone. That's not self-esteem, beloved. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not self-esteem. It's a game. It's a story that you tell yourself to make you feel better, but it doesn't exist. Self-esteem is not just something that you have at home. It's something that you also have to display in the relationship that you have with other people, right? So when I say self-esteem, I'm speaking of it right now in the same way that most of us speak about it, on this binary. Either you got it or you don't got it. When really, self-esteem is actually on a spectrum. So you can have fragile self-esteem. A lot of people got fragile. Fragile self-esteem is that if somebody says I'm cute, then I must be cute, right? It's the somebody gave me a compliment and it made my whole year. It's the somebody asked me to do something and they told me I did it really well, so now I can feel really good about myself. It's based on your wallet. It's based on having a boo. It's based on everything that is outside of you. And I know that feels weird because I'm saying part of what we get into is that self-esteem is a group project. And it's like, well, you are saying now that it's a group project, but that is bad if I live for the compliments? Yes. If you live for the compliments, it means that when you don't get it, your self-esteem will be in the toilet. It means that all of a sudden you won't be feeling that great about yourself. You feel like you've got nothing to shine on because you are waiting for somebody to fill you up with the air of their lungs by telling you how delightful you are. I already told you how delightful you are. Are you going to save it? You going to remember it? Chances are you'll throw it away as soon as you can. Chances are you've already thrown it away, because who somebody is and what they look like also matters in the way that we perceive the compliments we receive. So if someone who you think is ugly tells you that you're cute, you feel like it doesn't actually matter anyway, which is wild shit. Exactly. It's a group project, but hold your own. Come on. Come on. Get it with me, doctor. Get it with me. Because there's a balancing act. It's a both and I know that a lot of us, we want the binary. We want the either or, this or that, left or right. The world is lived in gray. It's lived here in the middle. It's at the or. It's not black, it's not white, it's both. BOAF, in case you can't spell it. Both. It's both. It's not one or the other, it's both. We have to learn to balance both. Now, for some of us, we don't start off having secure self-esteem. Secure self-esteem being as in you're secure in yourself, and somebody could tell you that you're ugly today and you still feel good about you. A lot of us, we don't start there, and that's okay. That's okay, because you know what you can do? Move. You can move. If you start off with fragile, you can move. If you start off with damage, you can move. You don't have to stay where you are. And you're not going to be in that one place every time you come, in every situation that you're in. Sometimes it changes. Like sometimes you have high esteem when you are with your family, but you have low esteem or fragile self-esteem when you're with your friends, right? And now it's a question of what's going on in the friend group. Is it you or is it them? A lot of us don't want to do the work to first find out if it's us. We automatically blame them. We don't want to give them any space, any grace. We want to say it's them and not us because we are not ready to confront our own bullshit. We believe our own hype. And while you should always be full of yourself, because who else would you be full of? You also need to be careful about your balancing act. The thing is this: we learn by seeing and experiencing. So you need friends who like themselves. You see it, you'll experience it, and then you'll be able to mimic it. It'll be a start. I know it feels like I'm saying fake it till you make it. I'm saying no. I'm saying that you are practicing, you are auditioning for your self-esteem. Don't think of it as fake it till you make it. Think of it as you are auditioning for the role that is yet to come. You are about to be cast any moment, and you need to practice your lines. Like, think about who you would be if you practiced self-esteem, right? Practice it in the mirror. What kind of things would you say if you had secure self-esteem? How would your boundaries look if you had secure self-esteem? What would sex look like if you had secure self-esteem? What kind of relationships would you look like if you was in a good relationship with high self-esteem? What would it look like? If what you got right now don't match, you got some work to do. Work to do. I said I wasn't gonna sing, but I didn't say I wouldn't talk to a rhythm. So the question has been asked. So yes, some of it is we have to fill it up ourselves and find the balance at the same time, because you need other people to help. Now that means that when you start, sometimes they start off as validation. You need people to validate you. You need someone to be like, it's basically asking, hey, am I the shit or some shit? And somebody comes back and says, baby, you are the shit, and here is how. That's validation. Now, there will come a day where you will be like, I get it. I am the shit. You will know it here in your head, and you will feel it here in your heart. You will know it. You will embody it. You will remember that. There will be days where you need some help, because nothing is ever constant. The only thing that is constant is what? The only thing that we know that will always change is time. Nothing stays still, right? And as long as we are subject to time, we are people who will always constantly be changing, which means that sometimes you will be in and sometimes you will not be in, but you can always find your way back. With that, that means that they can turn from validation to confirmation, because then you're going to be like, wait, I'm the shit, right? See, that's you saying I'm the shit. Confirmation. You validated yourself, right? It's confirmation, right? Like, I am, right? Like, I'm not tripping. No, baby, you're not tripping. That's what we're looking for. That's where we want to be. That's the yummy, yummy, yummy space. That's where we deserve to be. So, I have a question for you. What changes when you hear that self-esteem is a community, not an individual project? When you hear it, what comes up for you? What do you think now about it? Because a lot of us have definitely seen that Cat Williams thing where he's just like, self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, right? Except I just said it's not really like that. Parents, grandparents, the people around us, they taught us how. Not just with how they loved themselves, but also with how they loved us. And sometimes, quiet as it's kept, they didn't love us well enough. But the thing is, you big now. You so big, you got your own account on this social media app. And because I see that you got your own account on the social media app, it means that now you can choose the people who help to build up your self-esteem. So knowing that it is community, not individual based, does it change something for you? It's role oriented. Yeah. Self-esteem is not a costume that we put on, y'all. It's something that we build brick by brick. And like building a house, most people don't build houses on their own. They build houses in tandem with others. I'm saying, how do you build the house of your self-esteem? When you hear that it's something that you will build with others and not just by yourself, does it change anything for you? Does it get you thinking differently? Just tell me yes or no. Does it get you thinking differently? Because ultimately, exactly, it changed who I need to be around. Because when you realize that it's a community project, you have to look at the people who are in your what? Community. I'm going to give you a little bit of my business. There was a person that I thought was my friend. We was friends. They needed me, I showed up. I needed them, they sort of showed up. Whatever. And what I learned was this person that I thought was my friend didn't even like me. Not for real. And certainly believed that I had a place that I needed to stay in order to be in a relationship with them. Do you know that that shit sucks? Like, it sucks for somebody to feel like you are beneath them in that, in a way, in some way, shape, or form, that you should stay in your place. And it didn't hit me until I was planning a retreat and she told me it was going to fail because I didn't do things the way that she would do things. Because I was getting too big for my britches, that I was thinking too big and I needed to think smaller. I needed to not do an international something. I needed to do something local. This is what she said. This is how she behaved. When I got the book deal for this book, there was no congratulations from this chick. Not immediately. It's like she had to figure some shit out and then say, okay, like on the back end, okay. She didn't even say congratulations. She offered to do something for me. The point is, the people in your life who don't wish you well will expose themselves when you remember that self-esteem is a community project. It will have you check in your community. If you always feel like shit when you're with those people, you need to check it. I'm saying put on the brakes. I'm not saying stop. I'm saying apply pressure to your brakes. So it's yellow light, not red light. I'm saying slow down because you might need to take a second look. You may need to evaluate what that relationship is, what it was and what it felt like back then, what it is and what it feels like right now, and what you needed to be in order for that thing to be maintained moving forward. I'm saying that the community is what helps build the self-esteem. It's what helps sustain the self-esteem. And if you are in the wrong community, you will have people bigging you up when someone should have been telling you no. And you will have people who are putting you down when they should have been bigging you up. Some of y'all, quiet as it's kept. All right. Hey, quiet as it's kept. Some of y'all be silently rooting for Diddy. I said what I said. Sorry. I have limits on all my apps, and that one decided that I've been on this social media too long. But some of us, we root for people who we have no business rooting for, partly because we believe ourselves to be as fucked up and depraved as they are. And if they win, then that means that that is the way that we win. We have people around us who will never tell us that the thing that we are doing is wrong, that it is harmful to others. And we don't want people to tell us about ourselves because we already feel shame, and we would rather not feel it at all. We don't want to feel guilty. We don't want to feel shamed because we don't want to change. Sometimes I wonder if it's because we think we're incapable of change, and other times I wonder if it's because we believe that if we changed, that we would be confirming that something was wrong with us in the first place. I think that some of us are looking to have our self-esteem built with other people on their knees as well. How should one look at those outside of their community who seem to be committed to putting them down? Look at them like for what they are, the enemy. If somebody is committed to your downfall, if they are committed to putting you down, that might, like, number one, check yourself. See, like, are they committed to putting you down, or are they committed to opening your eyes? Right? Because we cannot forget that supremacy culture still exists, and that sometimes, like, women are telling men what it feels like to be women in their presence. And sometimes folk of color, and Black folk in particular, are telling folk of color and white people what it's like to be in their presence. That is a we issue, as in, I'm feeling this thing, but you are also, you're doing something, and that shit is not okay either. And it's not a put down for somebody to tell you, hey, you got to treat people better. It's not a put down for somebody to be able to say, like, hey, you're not doing your big one right now. You're doing some real fucked up shit. And yes, A lot of people you also got to just go ahead and look at in your rear view. You got to go ahead and let that go. Sometimes we are not prepared to let them go because sometimes those people are family members and we love them even when they seem to dislike us. And sometimes what that looks like is distancing yourself, creating some space between you and them and getting better boundaries. I'm telling you, when I tell you that my phone be like, no, get off. It's not playing. Sometimes it looks like building better boundaries. It's, I can talk to this person about X, but I can't talk to them about Y. It is, I can go over there for 15 minutes on any given holiday, but I can't stay at that house overnight. Sometimes it's, I need a friend to come with me to tap me and tell me when it's time to tap out. Sometimes it's, I need I need a therapist to have a conversation with me about how I can build a relationship with this person and let them know how I'm feeling. Because that's the other piece. A lot of us, we don't open our mouths. We want people to read our minds. If somebody is not treating you right, tell them. Give them an opportunity if you love them. And if you see the relationship as something worth saving after you've done your evaluation, if it's something that's worth saving, have a conversation with them so that they can maybe do better. But if you don't tell them, they don't have an opportunity. And you played yourself because you think that somebody should have read your mind to be better for you. Sometimes people love at their capacity, whether or not it is a soda cap, or if it's a gallon, that they love at their capacity. And their capacity may not be sufficient for you, but as long as they're also not the only thing that you're supposed to be getting your love from, you can find a way if you are willing to. And I'm not saying that you got to be willing to. So a question that I have for you: who are the people in your community who big you up? Who love you down bad? Who will be like, "Oh, okay, 4 + 4, you 8. 8. That's what it is. That's what happened here. 8." Who are those people? Now, you can or don't, you like, it's up to you whether or not you want to add that into the chat. That's your business. That's your right. It's your fingers, your thumbs. Do what you want with them. But I at least want you to start thinking about it. Who are the people who big you up? Who are the people who love you down bad? Who are the people that you get to show up as exactly who you are without feeling the need to dim your light in order to make somebody else feel better? Those are people that you need to be around. People that don't make you feel like shit when you give them your good news, right? People who, now granted, sometimes people will be jealous of your good news. But if this person is generally a good friend, you could talk to them about jealousy. I know that I had that conversation with a friend once. I remember when she got engaged, I was there. I was happy for her. All that, big smiles, camera going, super excited. And later we had a conversation and I was just like, I'm happy for you and I'm sad for me. Because jealousy does not mean that it's the end of a relationship. Sometimes it just means that it's the beginning of a talk. Jealousy or envy. People say they're destructive, and I'm just like, what's destructive is throwing people away like they don't mean shit to you just because they had a human emotion. Allow your friends to be people, because that's what they are. If it's a constant problem and it comes with belittling and other acts, you might need to go ahead and see that person in your rear view. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about healthy ranges of emotion. Allow your friends to have it. So I want you to think about the people who big you up in your community. For me, my sisters do that. For me, my agent does that. Amira, be holding a girl down. For me, there are several friends in my life that do that, that confirm to me that I am not tripping about something that I saw or something that I heard, who remind me when I forget that I am indeed the shit, not some shit. And sometimes that's what we need. So that's what I want you to find. I want you to find your people. Build things with those people. And, it can help if you let them know that that's what you're trying to do. This is part of the reason why I bought a book. Now, I wrote this book. Now, a book is not a people. A book is just a book. And if you don't do the work in the book doesn't even really mean anything. It just means you read, but you didn't do no work. And I want you to do the work. That is why there is a free workbook when you get this book. As a matter of fact, you can get it from your library. If it's not at your library, request it from your library. Get the book from your library, and there's a QR code in the book that will get you the workbook that I created so that you can do this work. I like that. Usually, when I tell someone that they aren't treating me right, their initial response is to get in defense mode, sadly. And the thing is, Shar, that sometimes that's what people do, right? Because nobody wants to hear bad things about themselves, and it's hard. I once had a conversation with a friend where I felt like she treated me badly when we were somewhere. And I told her, and she was just like, I disagree with you. And it's sort of like she was just like, I'm hanging up from this conversation. I'm not in the space to have it. And I said, okay. But then she came back around and she said, okay, it caught me by surprise and I didn't know how to have this conversation with you. And I was just like, well, let's just have it and see where it goes. Tighter now than we were then, because conflict is not the end of a relationship. Sometimes it's the beginning of the next step of vulnerability within the context of that relationship. I know that we be scared of conflict. Some of y'all be running away from it like it's fire, myself included. I'm good at confrontation and conflict, but that doesn't mean I want to do it. And sometimes it's just like, give people some time to sit in the thing that you said, because it may have caught them by surprise. It also means having good timing. Don't tell somebody that they're a shitty friend on their way to work. On their way to work, you say, hey, you set it up for a conversation. Can we meet face to face? Because you don't want to give people an opportunity to just hang up and never visit that conversation again. So whatever, anytime you can have a conversation face to face, do that. Even if the face to face is on FaceTime or whatever other video medias, whatever that you're using. Here's why. Only 7% of communication are the words that come out of your mouth. The rest is conveyed by your facial, by the tone, by body. There's so much going on that gets lost if you only go by somebody's words, which is also why this conversation can never be had via text, because the context is missing when you do that. And we don't want to set ourselves up for a failed conversation. We want to make sure that we have the best chance of success moving forward. So have the conversation in real time, not by text. Text is, let's arrange to have a conversation. Hey, I would like to catch up with you, and I have some things that I would love to talk about with you. When are you available? And making sure that you give yourself enough time to have the conversation. We're not in a rush, but we also don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're trying to have a conversation in 15 minutes because we put it up against somebody having a job interview or something. That's not good timing. We want to have good time so that we can have more good times together. Y'all got any questions? Y'all got quiet in the chat. So go ahead and give me any questions that you got. I'm hoping that you've been thinking about the questions that I asked, specifically what changes happens when you hear that self-esteem is community, not individual work. And the second question being, who are the people in your community that big you up? Because those people, those may be your number ones right there. And while I do want to encourage you, of course, to grab your own copy of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, I know that times is hard. So again, request it from your local library if it is not already there, so that you can still get this work. Let's see. Where did you get that emotion poster behind you? Baby, I made that. That's from my first book, Baby. This is my second book, Baby, which I'm having a baby shower for tomorrow. But yes, that's my first book, Baby. You can get this at DonnaOriowo.com/shop. It should be there. I know this poster is fly. And one of the feelings on it is like, the fuck? I like good feelings. If you want the kid-friendly version to put up in a classroom, something like that, one of those exists too. It doesn't say the fuck or I wish a bitch would. Those aren't emotions on that one because, we got to keep it clean for the kids. Let's see. Can you talk about self-esteem in the workplace? Absolutely. When you have secure self-esteem in the workplace, you're more likely to speak up in meetings. You're more likely to ask for the raise. You're more likely to ask for the promotion. You are more likely to show up as much as you are as you can, given the givens, because racism, sexism, etc. still exist, which means that a lot of us do a fair bit of masking and code switching in order to be in the workplace so that we can be safe. So you want to be able to negotiate that space between I feel safe and I feel seen. And you're more likely to do the work of negotiating that space when you feel good about yourself and when you're not sporting damaged self-esteem. When you're sporting damaged self-esteem, you are more likely to be quiet. You know the answer, you're sure of the answer, and then somewhere in your throat, you get question marks all over your sure answer. So you don't say anything, you be quiet. And that's not helpful in the workplace. If you want to advance, if you want to do well, some of you may be wanting to start a business. It's hard to start a business if you think of yourself as someone who is not supposed to, if you are scared. Whoops. Sorry, I'm over here dropping stuff. There we go. So you got to be able to show up and speak up. And it's hard to show up and speak up if you think of yourself as someone who can't or shouldn't. So that's a little bit of like how it shows up in the workplace. I hope that answers your question. I hope that you get this book. And yes, my understanding is that it is available in Canada. Oh, well, it doesn't say that on the back. But here are the places you can get the book. I know that we don't be fucking with Target, but there are 162 Targets across the United States that definitely have it in there. So I'm just putting out those ones right now. Number 2, you could also get it from Amazon. I know that a lot of us also don't fuck with Amazon, so I'm gonna keep it moving. There's other places that you can get it. Bookshop.org. That supports often your local indie space. So you can get it from there as well. And if I am invited or coming anywhere near you, I intend to do some meet and greet, some let's have a conversation about this book more in depth type stuff. And if you got a book club, email me. I'm trying to come, at least virtually, and we can arrange how to get the books to y'all that way as well. So y'all can email my team at hello@anodright.com, ANNODRIGHT.com. If you go to drinkwaterbook.com, I believe there's a contact sheet somewhere in there. What is emotional satisfaction for women? Ooh, I like this question. Emotional satisfaction is going to look different for each of us. It is the point with which we are satisfied with what we have and what we're doing. So there is no blanket answer. It's the question then gets turned back to you. What would make you feel satisfied? And how do you do that? But I like the question. Can you talk about tools to find a therapist that's a great match? Some of it is you got to know a little bit about yourself, what you're looking for, where you are. And you know who has a really good outlining of all of this? Dr. Joy from Therapy for Black Girls. So go to therapyforblackgirls.com. And I believe she's done a couple of videos on how to find a therapist that is a good match. Would I ever do a book signing abroad? I will go where I am invited. I will go where I'm invited, especially if somebody's going to flew me out. I'm trying to get flued out. I'll come. And if something comes up, because there's some opportunity with some of the stuff that y'all saying, I will post it on social media. So make sure you hit that bell so you can get them notifications. And definitely join my mailing list. So go to drinkwaterbook.com. You can join the mailing list and it will tell you where I'm going. And when I send an email, if you respond, I answer. As long as I don't have too many emails that day, I answer. So I'm saying, let's stay in contact. I hope that this was helpful for you. This is my first time going live in a while. I do intend to run this jump back and do this a little bit more regularly. So when we get there, we get there. Love y'all for real. Love you, mean it. Bye. I hope y'all have a great rest of your night. Bye, TikTok. We're going off for you first because this one is telling me it's going to end anyway. How does one discover their purpose? Ooh, I like this question. Can you send me this question like as a comment somewhere or in my email? I will do a video on how one finds their purpose. I can do a video on that. We could I feel like there's a whole conversation that happens in how to discover one's purpose. I like this question. Thank you for asking it. Have a great night. All right, y'all.